In this video, we're gonna talk about career changing and more specific about portfolio career. And next to me, I have Rupa Datta, who is an expert in portfolio career, and she can tell us more about herself and what is a career portfolio.
Thank you for having me today. So portfolio careers, we're almost going back to the future. It was a term coined in the 80s by a legend, one of my heroes called Charles Handy. But more and more right now, given what we're going through, lots of people are talking about portfolio careers, which is fantastic. So I just wanted to take us back to the original theory before we develop the conversation further. And in a nutshell, it's doing multiple things at once when it comes to your career and your life. The four main strands are making sure you have some sort of paid work, a revenue stream if you're in business, or multiple revenue streams, doing something that involves volunteering or gift work, doing something that is contributing to your skills development and lifelong learning, and then finally, hobbies, home, that kind of thing, which we're probably not going to go into too much detail about today. And I consider myself a walking, talking portfolio person. I personally, right now, my portfolio consists of obviously helping people understand portfolio careers and helping them develop their own, helping organizations understand the value of their employees or their people having portfolio careers. I am in the property construction industry by default. I run a property connect networking thing at the moment, so I'm helping out there. I'm also doing some stuff with sparkling wine and Indian food, but we can go into that detail if need be. But actually, I met that person through the property industry, so it just goes to show that you don't always do just one thing. And finally, as you know, I'm involved in Toastmasters quite a bit, which is a leadership and communication development organisation.
Okay, you mentioned earlier about gift work. Can you tell more about that and what exactly, if you can say about more in terms of tips and more examples of how this can help in your career?
Absolutely. Okay, so gift work is essentially spending a proportion of your time contributing essentially to society through volunteering or doing something that is work, but not expecting certainly any revenue or money in return. And over time, one tends to realize that actually it does help your career. So just to give you a couple of examples, Toastmasters is a really good example of one. So I've been a Toastmaster now for just over 4 years. And I've seen a difference by virtue of being involved in Toastmasters and taking up leadership roles and so on and so forth in terms of, essentially my pay, but also my confidence and that kind of thing. The network is a really important thing too. You yourself, I believe NAVIC is a voluntary organisation within the construction industry. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's reasons why you do that too, right?
Of course. I can consider this a gift work as well.
Exactly. Good. So that's one part of your portfolio ticked off.
Right. In terms of portfolio career, why do you think it's so important, and why do you think people need to think about it, specifically nowadays with this situation of COVID and the pandemic situation we are at the minute?
Yeah, there's a few reasons people become portfolio, for want of a better phrase, and there is some research out there that suggests that we will all be portfolio at some point in our lifetime or at some point in our career lifetime. For some people, they haven't really had a choice. They've perhaps been made redundant. Other people are looking for maybe a little bit more out of their career than just doing one thing. But the reality is, if we can reposition how we all look at careers, it can lead to the long-term career strategy. And it's certainly working for me. I get people more interested in what I do when I say things like, you know, sparkling wine and Indian food, or when I talk a bit more about my gift work or historic gift work than in the past, doing, you know, whatever the day job was, right? So if you say, you know, I'm a salesperson, or I sell software, or I'm in recruitment, I'm in construction, doesn't really tell people anything, right? But I do a lot of networking, and you know, when you go out and you start to talk to people about their passions and not their job, that's when you really start to find out what drives people. And I think that's really important.
Sure. You also mentioned about the networking a bit earlier. Why do you think is this a powerful tool to have, and how networking can be a strong point in your career development?
I think it's about the power of conversation. So a lot of people, when they get told to go networking or go and network and understand your network, it can be a scary prospect. But if you see networking as something that we're doing all the time anyway, you know, from a commercial or a business perspective, that I would argue that there is a process to it. But let me give you the example of the sparkling wine and the Indian food thing, right? I've met the guy that I'm doing this work with, and it's great fun, right? It's really good fun. But I met him at a property networking event about 10 years ago. So now go back to, don't assume just because you meet somebody in a certain environment that they are just one thing. It turned into a long-term friendship, and we now dip into each other's projects when there's some cool stuff happening. So he's sort of in the property industry, I'm sort of in the property industry, but we dip in and out and we do different things.
Thinking about more of an industry, let's say if you take construction, and thinking about developing a portfolio career in the construction, do you think people need to kind of look a bit outside of the industry, not just be kind of focused on one direction? If you are in this industry, you kind of stay in that one. Do you think, do they have to enlarge their vision and think about outside of the industry as well? How do you see that?
When I go to construction related events, or myself in the industry, but I happen to maybe delivering services within the industry. And if we look at it, someone starting in a particular industry but may want to completely change what their career is, okay, I'm going to take you as a possible example. I believe you were trained as an engineer,
Yes.
and you're in the construction and engineering industry. There's nothing, you know, if you have made a decision that that is going to be your career, that's awesome. But potentially in the future, you may go into management or leadership or, I don't know, marketing, but within construction. That could take 2 or 3 steps from where you are now. But thinking outside of the box or outside of industry in terms of developing those skills, I believe would help. In the same way, someone that might be a salesperson or a marketeer or in technology, that is a function, but in terms of changing your role, there's a different sort of mindset that's needed. And that's where I think a portfolio career can help.
Thank you. And my last question to you will be if you have any other tips for people in terms of portfolio career, let's say 3 major things that they need to think about it in planning their portfolio career.
Absolutely. Okay. So I already said that out of the 4 major strands, we're probably going to leave the homework element outside of the scope of the conversation today. So the 3 main things are, you know, have you got paid work, and potentially more than one type of paid work, so that you feel more secure than having a job and, God forbid, if you know you are made redundant or get fired or whatever it is, you don't need to worry too much. Always having something where you are continuously developing your skills, and it might not be directly related to the job that you're doing now, I use Toastmasters again as an example. The reason I keep mentioning marketing is that's a segment or an industry that is changing so rapidly that you could have had 30 years marketing experience that means very little right now in terms of how we do marketing. So always doing something, whether it's 1 hour a week or just upskilling yourself in courses, languages, that kind of thing. Always doing something to make sure that you have a competitive advantage at the next thing that you go to. And the final thing, I can't subscribe enough how important volunteering is. I did it by accident, or started my volunteering career, if you like, by accident. I think it was 2011, 2012. A chance conversation with somebody where actually it led to me doing 6 months with a charity, giving my skills, for want of a better phrase, and that then led to another opportunity which made me think more about again giving my skills, and that was for a social enterprise. Made me more think about my network, so I then also served doing marketing and sales related stuff for one of my alumni committees at business school. And then I found Toastmasters, and so far, that volunteering journey is not over yet. Thank you, Rupa.
Thank you for participating in this interview. Hope everyone enjoys some tips from Rupa. And if you want to find more about how you can develop your portfolio career and how maybe Rupa can help you in this journey, you can find more information in the link below the video. For now, thank you very much for watching us.